Welcome to the Glass Ceiling Talk. I'm your host, Jordan. We got a good topic for you today. Talking about knowing your worth and what is your worth. Like that's something you have to figure out for yourself. How do you value yourself? Like truthfully, honestly, how do you value yourself? We're gonna talk about it. Why do you think you're in the spot you're in now? What's holding you back? And I know we kind of went over this in depression, but I kind of want to go off on this, knowing your worth. How I describe knowing your worth as going for what you want is going to take doing things without recognition. You may never even receive it until after you leave that space. So you may never, like you may never see, really say congratulations or good job or that was a really good one or stuff like that. I mean, not saying that everybody wants people to recognize them in that way. Um, be recognized by getting money. I understand, but and I understand that too. So we'll go over that too. But if you've been there years and years, I mean, you get raised every. I'm assuming you get raises every year. Um, but like at the jobs you work, you get raises every year. Um, but you just feel like your raises aren't really adding up to the work you do. Like depending on what you do, how you do it. I mean, I don't know. I haven't worked every job, so I don't know. I can't answer that question for people who work in like manufacturing because I have no clue how your job works. Um, but we'll use a clothing store. You work at a clothing store. It's a pretty well-known clothing store. I mean, yeah, it's they got a couple places. Um, just for the example, and you like working there. You want to see yourself move up, whether it's in this exact clothing store or a different one or in corporate or whatever. You really like working there. You've been working there, we'll say 3 years. Started out like everyone else, picking clothes up, making sure everything was on the hangers, folded right. Um, you didn't complain. You didn't take off days, stuff like that. You took over other people's days who didn't need it, or who, not saying they didn't need it, but sorry, you don't take off days that you just don't want to go into work. Like you're always there, always on time. Um, and I just completely skipped all my notes, honestly. But yeah, okay, so skipped over all my notes. So we'll go back over everything else. But I got into this, starting talking about clothes. Um, but you just feel like you're not progressing fast enough in your eyes. Not even for the money aspect, but for the responsibility aspect. You don't feel like you're getting enough responsibility. You don't feel like you're getting enough credit for doing all these other things that others aren't. And it's not going and tell your bosses this is how I feel. You don't, it's not necessarily you don't say anything, but you don't bring it up even a lot. Like you don't even bring it, you either don't bring it up at all or rarely ever bring it up. But it just feels like nothing's changing. It just feels like everybody else around you is progressing and you're just in a standstill. All been there. But knowing your worth is knowing that there's other jobs with better titles and even if you don't have the exact credentials. And I know that's a totally different thing about talking about people giving you chances. But people talk. They do, even if you feel like they don't. Everything you do is being watched by some. You just assume everything you do is being watched by somebody. Especially now with all the cameras and stuff now. So people really do see you, even if they don't. Even if you don't think they do, they really do. It's even a great talk for myself. But knowing your worth is knowing you can go somewhere else. Like, even if you really like that place. And it's not like you can't come back eventually. I mean, that's kind of, people don't really do that a whole lot. So, I mean, that's kind of unheard of. But it's not even like you couldn't come back into a higher position. But sometimes even takes degressing. If you feel like you're not moving up high enough in one position, but you do have a little power, or whatever, you might have a little more respect or duties or whatever, responsibilities. Maybe it takes going to a job that has you doing less and building yourself up from there, but you would build up a lot faster. Maybe not. We're just talking, but people are scared to do that. You can't be scared. I understand. We got a lot going on. People have a lot going on, especially now. But you got families. You got your own personal needs. You got your living. You got food. You got all of that. If you take medicine, you got medicine. You got a girlfriend. You got a boyfriend. You got needs. You got stuff you have to take care of. You want to take care of. So I understand that being, once you're in a spot that you know your job is secure, a lot of people get comfortable. Which, it's not bad if that's what you're going for, if that's what you want, out of yourself, that's fine. Don't let anybody tell you that's not fine. I mean, we all have a purpose in this world. We all have a reason to be here. Not all of us are meant to be millionaires and billionaires. But if you're secure where you are, not comfortable, secure, like you feel like even if you lost that job, you'd be okay. Like you're secure. You have a way of making it out. Having a backup plan. See, we're getting into my other notes. Y'all got me preaching here today. But you got to have a backup plan. And you got to have solutions. You can't have maybes. But you need to have confirmed situations. If this happens, this needs to happen. And it may not exactly happen like how you want it to happen, but if it happens, you're ready. You're ready for that moment to happen. That's knowing your worth. You're prepared. You're strategic. Strategic. If you're an actor, actress, you don't need to move to LA, Atlanta, New York, wherever else. You can be in a small ass town, 500 people. But you have the internet in your hands. Anything you want to do, you want to be seen, anything you like, you can post in seconds. Seconds. You got to be consistent with it. You got everything. And when I was talking about with the job, you got everything you do, you got to be consistent. Like, you can't do it sometimes. You can't do it for a couple months. You got to do it. You're doing it year in, year out, year in, year out. Like, you constantly doing it. Like, you're giving your all. Well, you feel like your all is every day. And I know that's not what it's like for some people. Some people get lucky in that way and are able to get a promotion and stuff quickly, and maybe they don't deserve it, or maybe they do, and they just knew the right people. I mean, you have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I wrote it down. Hold on. Realistic. That's the word. You have to be realistic in what you want. Now, obviously, if you're a former athlete, you're 30 years old now. Say you played, we'll say you played baseball. So you played baseball in high school or whatever, youth league, all of that. Played baseball in high school. Maybe you went to college and played. Never really got the chance to go pro. Maybe you start coaching. You stay in shape. Just in case the opportunity presents itself. Are you truly, truly prepared for that? Just like the movie. I think it's called The Rookie. I mean, obviously, those stuff like that doesn't happen every day, but they happen. You have to be prepared, but you have to be realistic as well. I'm not, and I was just, and I didn't even mean to go off on that one. I meant to say, would you like, if you never got the chance, would you be okay? Like, would that, if you never got the chance to go to the pros, or you missed out on your chance, would that would that be something that killed you, or would you teach others how you got there, why you didn't get there, and be like that? I mean, I know that's kind of something different. That's a totally different thing. But knowing your worth is being realistic. You have to be realistic with where your worth, where you feel like your worth is. Not what anybody thinks your worth is. Where you feel like you think your worth is. Honestly, not, oh yeah, I'm the best employee. I'm worth $10 million. Not like that. You gotta be realistic. Sit down, and not even just in the workplace, with everything you do in your life, everything. Because you put some type of effort in everything you do. Even if you're not putting in effort, that's an effort. That's showing something of you for that day. So even if you worked your ass off at work, you're exhausted. Come home, you got kids, you got a wife or a husband. Make sure I get that right. Or whatever you describe yourself as. Sorry. But what do you have for them? You gave it your all at the workplace. Gave it your all today. You did everything you thought you could do for that day. And of course, you took your breaks and stuff like that. But I'm saying during your time of work, you didn't really mess around. You did your job. You did it the way you're supposed to. Like, you did everything you could in that day. And then you have to come home to your family. How do you still have that same energy? Can you keep that attention? Can you keep that level of dedication that you had at work to your family, and the other way around? Can you do what you do for your family at work, or for your friends, your relatives, whoever? And I have another video I'll do later on about manifestation, but however you live your life, however you dedicate your life, that's your manifestation. How you present yourself is what you want to be known by, what you want to be known as. Like, when people think of you, you want them to, I mean, when people think of you, well, you want them to think of you as a good person, friendly, works hard, responsible, good parent, good child, good brother, sister, whatever. You want people to say that about you, and not even that you strive for that. It's not even that you're wanting that to be as your as your thing. Like you don't. I mean, that's something you want to strive for, but that's not something you want to. That's gonna be. I mean, that's always gonna be how people think of you is always gonna be ingrained in you. But you just want it to come off naturally. You don't want to have to think about, oh, I hope they're saying good things about me. I hope they like me. I hope they do this. I hope they do that. If I needed them, I hope they would. You can't sit. You can't sit on that because people. Doesn't matter how nice you are to people. Doesn't matter how you treat somebody. Doesn't matter. If they don't like you, they don't like you. Whether it's something that happened in the past or they just don't like you for whatever reason. There's people like that. And it's not about race. It's not about anything. They just don't like you. Like I said, in the past, you had one bad day and maybe you, I mean, obviously, maybe you didn't even do that. But I'm saying maybe you had one bad day and then they just took it as their whole perception of you. That happens. You can't worry about that. You can't stress on that. That's one person's opinion on you. No matter how much power they have, that's one person's opinion on you. And if that's how they've influenced other people to think about you, maybe it's time for you to leave that space. Whatever it is, workplace, at home, friends, family, whatever it is. Maybe it's time to leave that space, leave that situation. I'm not saying forever. An hour, a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever you need to do. Because what do you need to do to feel like you're not living up to what people thought you should do? And it's good to have some negativity in your life. You need to have some type of negativity. If your life is too positive, that's not real. You're going to have some type of negativity in your life, and you're going to experience negativity at some point in your life. No matter if it's your whole life, whatever it's a year, 20 years, a month, you're going to experience sometime. And I mean, and that's just what you notice. Like, you don't even see the negativity somebody you don't know thinks about you. But you got to have some type of negativity. But there's always a point of no return of negativity. Someone can always say something too far, too much, not at the right time. And you got to be able to release yourself of that situation, of that space. Again, maybe it's for good. Maybe it's just for a short time. But knowing your worth is giving your all in everything you do. From work to home, to your friends, to your family, to people you see randomly on the street. And I'm not saying you gotta be happy-go-lucky all the time. If you're not a visually happy person, people say I'm not a visually happy person. That's just my face. Like I'm not angry at anybody. I'm just relaxed. But whatever your relaxed is, you don't have to be on tip. You don't have to be something you're not. You don't have to be. You be true to yourself. If you're mean, be mean, but be able to understand the consequences of that nature, of that behavior, but not really being conscious of it, but not really caring. Like, you can be conscious and not care. I think that's a lot of people. They're conscious, but they just don't care. Like when I said in my first video, they're conscious. They see what's going on. And how they look at media is how they will more than likely will go off on the extreme of whatever that extreme is, because everybody has something they're extremely passionate about. Everybody has something they're extremely passionate about, whether whether you like to argue or not, whether you like politics or you don't, whether you like sports or you don't, whatever makeup, whatever you find passion in, you will argue, that's something you truly care about. Music, whatever it is. When someone disrespects that, that's what gets you the angriest. And I kind of forgot where I was going. But I'm sorry. I forgot where I was going with that. But be consistent. Be consistent in what you do in everything of your life, in everything in your life.